So yes, we need to know how the routine is going to be. Then they need to have the organizational induction, which is basically the induction or the local conferences, as some LCs are going to be doing. Then the functional induction, which is functional induction, is the first moment when they learn what it's like to work in the area that they have been allocated. For example, if I'm a new member of OGV, it's the first time I learn what is the customer flow, how does EXPA work, where do I track, how do I follow up an EP. Then task-based induction, but this is like mostly what we have been doing now in the recruitment. Then they need to take the initial LDA in EXPA. They need to have the first team meeting, buddy program or mentoring. This is mostly up to you how you want to handle it. But this is super cool. And like for me, this is optional. Like it's not mandatory to have buddies or mentoring. But I know that here is a very strong culture. So if you want to keep it, it's super cool. And the first local committee meeting. So it looks like a lot, but I'm very sure that all of you understand why it's super important that all of these are planned and are done in the best way. So for that, I prepare clear deadlines to make sure that we're all doing it. So I know that it looks like a lot of things. I will put everything in our calendars, and believe me that when I planned it, I made sure that you have enough time to do everything. And tomorrow in our weekly email, I will send you all the materials that you need for some of these things. First deadline that we have is on 24th of September. You need to send me a plan, so you have 1 week for this, for the first 30 days of the members and the touch points that they will have in the whole semester. So I gave you a whole week so that you can talk about this with your whole EB. So if you want to do it in your EB meeting, because this is the only moment when you meet with your EB, you do it when you're with your EB. And seriously, this doesn't take you more than, I don't know, 20 minutes, half an hour. And believe me, it's super worth it. If you plan all of this ahead, and you know already what are the first 30 days of the members going to look like and what are going to be the main touch points in this whole semester, it really makes a difference. So yes, tomorrow, like I said in the email, I will remind you about everything, but basically in these first 30 days is what is the member going to be doing, when is the induction, when is the first meeting with the VPs, and if you talk about this with your EVs, it will help you have everything on board with them. Like, for example, it's the same with recruitment. You needed to onboard them and to ask them for help. And with onboarding is the same. We cannot do it alone. Like, actually, we cannot, like, this is not something that is only our responsibility. It's mostly for them because they are the ones who are going to receive the new members. We are back office and we don't recruit members for us. So you need to have them on board. So until 24th of September, you need to send me these plans. You can send me in any format. I'm not putting deadlines because I want to check and be a free control. I'm putting deadlines to help you do the things on time, you know, and to help you have this routine. Like when I was LCVP, I had these deadlines and I understood that it's not that my MCVP doesn't trust me, but it's also like, it's just a way for me to help me keep track. So yeah, the same goes for you. Then on 28th, that we have two things. Is to send me the agenda of induction days for feedback. Of course, like I won't give you super detailed feedback. I will just make sure that you are including the important stuff. Also, you already have the recommended one, so I will just check that you have AIESEC way, the basic stuff, and that enough time you have for everything. And also, until 28th of September, meaning you have 2 weeks, you should have a meeting with your LCVP's operations and plan how the first meeting, the first operational meeting of them with their new members will be, okay? This is the most crucial, important thing, and I need you to please like do it with all my heart, and this will make the whole difference. Like if you do this, your whole term is done. Like you will have 50% of success, and the members will be happier, the members will be, like everything will be amazing. Because this first meeting is super important, and we always tend to forget about it. Why? Because we had this amazing induction, so we never stop to plan the first operational meeting, and it's super important. Because if the members don't have all the knowledge they need, they might spend like up to even 3 months not knowing what is EXPA, or not knowing, I don't know, how to check something. Because, you know, life happens and who knows how they are tracking. So it's super important. And the same, you need to send me, you need to plan this with your VPs and send me in an email, in copy to the MCVP of the area, what have you planned for this meeting. Of course, I will send you recommendations and everything, and in the next slide, I also have the main topics. And again, this is not the point because I'm a control freak, but it's just to give you this rhythm of planning things and having everything on time, and to make sure that you are not running on the last days and doing everything. And until 30th of September, the last day, there is a training on the hub that is called Team Leader 101 training, and it's about basically team standards. And we are all of us, we are like really know that team leaders have to be a very important focus for us, because if we if we want to make sure that our members are doing a great job, we need to make sure that our team leaders are prepared to manage them. So until 30th of September, all of the team leaders have to do this training. I can track this information on the hub. If you want, I can give you weekly or even daily updates about your team leaders. Unfortunately, I'm the only one with the permissions in AIESEC for Poland to do that, because this is a permission that only MCVP TM can have. But for me, it's not a lot of trouble. I just download an Excel. So if you need me to give it to you, I can give it to you. And yes, this is all for September. So just going again on it, simply send the plans for the first operational or functional meeting that each LCVP will have with the new members and the team leaders, of course. And what else? Yes, the agenda for induction days, and make sure that team leaders take the training. Then in October, in 17th of October, all of the members should be in the organization, even if they had their induction days or not, but they should all be in the organization. So we need to make sure that they are all in the membership database of Podio, that they all have an EXPA account, that they have had the first team meeting with their team leaders. So basically in that first team meeting, it's all about creating the identity and creating the EXPA account, and there you go with 1 hour of the meeting, and that's all you do. And the members should also have the individual goal for October. And this is not something I can really track, so it's up to you. I'm just trusting you that you will do it. Yes. And in 25th of October, we need to make sure that everybody has their initial LDA, the EXPA, and they have the personal development plan with the team leader done, which is simply the first one-on-one with their team leaders. So, of course, your team leaders will learn that they have to do the one-on-one and the personal development plan 1 month before, on the 30th of September, when it's the deadline for them to take the training. If you need to have fast-track team leaders, don't worry. I am also thinking about that, and this is why I also put on the database for recruitment that you can start marking there if you will have fast tracks, and we can give more time for these people to make the training. And I'm also still planning how to have like a special training for these people to make sure that they are cool fast tracks, let's say. Yes, and then 26th to 20th of October is October conference, and I will see you there. And so why also, like, it's super important that, for example, for 25th, everyone has their LDA and the EXPA and everything, because then if they have all these things, they will go to the conference with a different perspective. Like, they will have a plan. They will, they will have had some perspective, so they can use the conference much better. Because, for example, I don't know, if at some point we talk about we have applications of EB ongoing, they will think, oh, I was doing my personal development plan, maybe, I don't know, next year I can apply for EB, maybe I can be a team leader again, maybe I can whatever. So the most prepared they come there, the more they will learn, and the more they will take advantage of the knowledge. Yes, and here is. Okay, so first, do you have any questions? I heard somebody wrote something. If some of you can read it, it will be helpful, because if I leave this screen, it's...
No, it was Bartek that said that he has some problems with connection, but it was on the chat. I have a question for you, because
yes.
On the previous slide, you show us the 8 points that we have to... yes, exactly. And for example, if you know already the, let's say, agenda of the conference, what can we use? Like each of this we can use on the conference. Like, could we have the functional time or something during the conference? I don't know. I'm asking you about this, if we can already take one of these and do it during the conference.
You mean
in
the local induction?
Yep. Do we have like also the space like during the conference when we divide for the LCs and do some crazy stuff, or not really? Maybe this is a silly question,
I understand.
maybe you get the point. Yeah.
Yeah. So in your local conferences, I send you the recommended agenda. And the idea is that you see the AIESEC way and the basic stuff. So yes, like each person should have a space with their operational team. For example, all the new members of OGV go to the VP and the team leaders, and they learn, what is the area, etc., etc. But you always need to have the functional meeting with your VP and have time to sit and make sure that you learn and understand the customer flow, etc., etc. Because in a conference, you have the risk that, I don't know, you will run out of time or that people are distracted, whatever. So this is one point. And the second point regarding October conference, I think you're asking, yes, we will have spaces for the LCs, but it's not going to be as big as we imagine, let's say, on the first moment, simply because it's only 3 days, and then like we planned a lot of stuff, but for sure you will have spaces to be with the LCs, like with your whole LC, and we are like the agenda is already ready, but we, for example, we went to board of advisors and they also gave us feedback. And also some LCPs were asking about this, and Maciek and Agata, they are checking the agenda to make sure that you will have spaces. But also the thing is that most of the LCs are doing either local conference or induction days. And in this space, like you can have space to do the introduction with your LC. Like even if it's one day, you can do it. So my recommendation is that you should focus on this LC building of a strong culture. So when you go to the conference, yes, you will have a space, but it won't be that big. I hope you understood more or less.
Yes, okay, thank you. Yes, we had induction day, but I was afraid that it will be like not enough time, but I think it will be pretty cool.
You have only one day of induction?
Yeah, it is pretty late, but I can maybe explain it via brief to you that we have some fuck at our timeline because we don't have a pipeline to end.
Okay, so we can talk in WhatsApp. But anyways, like when I was at CVPTM, I was actually always doing only one day, and it was super powerful. And also I was doing it like one day, but it was really one full day, like from 10 p.m. until 7 p.m. And it was like a mini conference, and people really liked it. And actually we had time for everything, like for why, for the culture of the LC, to have a space with your team and get to know each other and organize when the meetings will be. So I really think that it's enough time. And then when you go to the conference, like for sure there will be these spaces where you can, like, I don't know, brag about your LC and the shout and everything, and these are the most powerful for the members. So I really believe that it will be okay even if you have one day for the conference. Okay, so any questions about these deadlines? What do you think?
I can say that I have onboarding right now prepared. So if somebody wants to approach me, we can have some feedbacks, etc. So feel free. And my VOGV has great idea to prepare some kind of welcome packs, like very, how to say, online welcome packs where like all the JDs will be. What else? Whole timeline of the induction, and like where exactly the national conference will be, etc., etc. So it's a very nice idea, and I just wanted to share with you this because I think it's cool.
It's super cool. It's going to be like a booklet or something like this? It's going to
it's going to be like first mail, but with all the very helpful information for them. Like, for example, these books for newbies with all our shortcuts. like what is MC, EB, etc. Or for example,
this is
who is in
amazing.
EB right now, what do we do, etc., etc.
Super cool. And actually, you reminded me, I forgot to tell you guys, but I also have planned that every week of October, we will have a video posted in Think House. Like it will be like the first weeks of the members. So the first week it will be like, welcome to AIESEC or something like this, and they will be like done in a very funny way, and like the whole point is, it's also like welcome to AIESEC and welcome to AIESEC for Poland, and also for all of them to feel like they are part of something big, and it's going to be like 400 people like joining the organization all together at the same time. So it's super cool that they can feel like special and part of this huge group. So we will have these videos, and for example, I don't know, in the second video it will be something. Do you already know your team leader? Who is your, I don't know, member like that you have been sharing your past week with, and tag him or something like this. So yeah, I have already the scripts, let's say, for these videos. I will be shooting them this week. So if you have any cool ideas, you can write to me and I can use them and put them on the video. Yes, okay. So this is regarding the deadlines. Like I said, I will put them on the calendar and I will be really tracking you for it. And like I said, it's not about being a control freak, it's just to make sure that you have this rhythm and that you have everything in advance and prepare, and you're not then running against the time. And that we are really like taking advantage of the fact that we started recruitment earlier. So, like I was saying, first functional meetings, I will start talking to Daniel, to Millie, to Fer, and to Marilia about their areas. They very much agreed on everything that they said, but that we need to make sure that the first functional meetings that your VPs have with the new members and the team leaders include value proposition of OGV, the customer flow, how to promote OGV, in the case of OGV, and I'm sorry, here is how to promote IGV. Sorry, I didn't forget. I didn't change the letter. Then customer centricity and IR partners. I know it looks like a lot, but like the idea here is not to make it super long, but like this is an introduction, and we need to make sure that they understand. So we need to make it super simple, and even like if you want me to, I can create this first meeting, like I don't know, PPT, whatever, videos, anything that you need, you can ask me. But these things need to be included because we were analyzing and we saw that one of the main struggles, like especially for example in OGT or in these LCs that have VP OGX, is very difficult for the members to sell the value proposition, because it's very different if you go in OGT than if you go in a GVE or if you go in a GV. There are three completely different products, and we need to know the differences, not only logistically, but what does it mean, you know, to be a global volunteer? What does it mean to be a global entrepreneur? And around these three products, our whole organization revolves. So we really need to understand them. We as TM need to understand them, and we need to make sure that each and every one of the members also understand them, and that they know how to track them, how to measure them, and everything. So this is super important. Of course, the customer flow, like this is basic, everyone needs to know. How to promote and how to attract, because this is probably the first thing they will start to do. October is a very strong month for approvals in OGV and for selling, and also I think approvals in IGV. So this is the first thing that you usually do when you enter the organization operational areas. And customer centricity, because we have our standards and we need to make sure that they know how to track them. And the IR partners, because this is very important, and it's also something that we really need to work on, because if we work with IR partners, we will like stop having quality cases or EPs that come with bad setting expectations. So please make sure that you know the IR partners of your LC, if you have some, and if you don't have some, make sure that you will have, so that the members will sell accordingly, and that we will not send EPs to a random country where then we don't know how to track, or that we are going to be receiving EPs from random countries, and then if something happens, we cannot have a fluent contact with the people from that country. And with OGE and OGT and IG and IGT is mostly the same: value proposition, the legal process in the case of IGET, and the customer flow in the case of OGET. In the case of IGET, basic sales, And there is between brackets the train the sellers. Guys, I have to tell you, I was in train the sellers. If you have members who were there, ask them to tell you about it because it was super amazing, super amazing, really. And also Mere and Fer, they are working for these people to become ambassadors of training the sellers and give again like these trainings in the local level. And believe me, like there were super cool activities, and even I learned a lot about how to sell. Yes, and then the SOP is operational procedure. I forgot what is the S, but basically this is a guide on how to do IG and IGT, and it's step by step what you need to do, who you need to contact, how you need to make it happen. And why we have it for OG and OGT and for G and GT and not for GB is because they involve startups, they involve companies, and we have like the legal process, as you know, so we really need to be more careful with that, and we need to know all the steps. And of course, again, IR partners, like I said before, because it's important to have them. So if you still don't know some of this information about your LC, find it out, because you need to track that your members know it, and you also need to track your VPs that they are actually delivering this information to your members. Yes, so this is for onboarding. Like I said, I will send you everything again tomorrow in our weekly meeting. I will send you more materials, and if you have any doubts, please write me or answer even tomorrow in the email or whatever, you know, I'm always available for you. So I wanted to go super quickly through the R&R system of AIESEC for Poland to make sure that you understand it. Yes, and it's called VPD on the scale, and it's a challenge. And we have three main groups that are Vivace, Allegro, and Andante. These are the consequences of having two Italian people in OD. They start putting Italian names to things. These groups were created based on the results from the last semester. Yes, and we will have 4 rounds, one per month. And what you have to do simply it's collect points. And how do you collect points? By doing approvals, by doing opens, by having the recruitment goal in the case of TM, etc., etc. And each month, all the LCs that are gaining enough points to jump the category, you can win literally like money. For example, to invest in ads, to, I don't know, do a R&R system for your members, etc., etc. The amount of money, Tony didn't allow me to tell you because it will depend. But it's, believe me, it's enough money for you to do cool stuff for your LC, and money is always good. So yeah, and yeah, like I said before, you can win the rewards. And these are the points for approvals. In IGV, you get 20 points, in IGT 50, in IGE 50, in OGV 30, in OGT 60, and OGE 60. Realizations completed, you can read it there. Sorry. And also for TM and BD, you get points for talent capacity for members achieving their goal. Yeah, in September, we have bonus points, which are the applicants, the interviewed, the selected, and the plan achievement of the applicants. And where is your LC standing right now? As you can see here, this is the overall, this is how we started. And in the first week, how many points your LC has right now. So, for example, Gdańsk has 1,200, Kraków 1,500, and yes, you can, sorry. And you can read it there. So if by the end of the month you will be able to jump, your LC will win money. So yeah, what do we have to do is literally what we do every day, and we will earn points.
I have a question.
Yes.
You say that we will gain money from these points, because
Yeah.
I don't understand. It's like I understand all this scheme, but I don't understand when we earn this money.
At the end of the month, I mean at the end of September, because this is the first month that the challenge is happening. So at the end of September, you will see how many final points you have, and then if you jump to the next point.
Do we have any like converter from points to the sum of money? I mean, what the euro dollar sort of thing like this, or just I don't understand it correctly.
Yeah,
Bitcoins.
Because no, it's going to be zloty. It's going to be zloty. But the reason why is because we have the budget, like we did for the whole year for R&R. So the guys have it for OD, and it will depend on the results. Because what it happens if we are super screwed in operations, for example, and we do 0 OGX in this month, unfortunately, they will have to reduce this because the money, like even sometimes, like if we have something in our budget, for example, to I don't know, buy something for the house, we need to cut it if we're not doing operations because it means that we will get less money. So if you are achieving all the points, but all of the points you are achieving by IGV and doing approvals or something like that, when not a lot of money is entering to the LC, not and even to the MC, it means that we will have to give less money. This is why there's no, let's say, established amount of money, but it will be, let's say, around 1,000. If everything goes fine, it will be 1,000 zloty each month, but if we have enough money.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I hope it was clear. If somebody tells me, like, I can explain it. Okay, so this is it, and then in September we have this cool something that they made us take very ridiculous pictures. I don't know if you saw it. I was wearing a very horrible dress, and the whole point was to make you laugh, so I really hope that at least it makes you happy. Yes, we had a lot of fun, and this is a competition between the commissions, and the idea is that we need to get the most amount of planned versus achieved. And for us, of course, it's recruitment. So the most we achieve of the new members that we need, the more closer we will be to win. And since we are the tempos and be beyond the scale and all the thing of music, the prize is where our, let's say, commission are going to play their concert. So it's kind of very silly things, but it's funny. Yeah, and if we win and if we're in the highest place, we will play our concert in Warszawa Stadium. Yes, unfortunately, we won't win anything except for the dignity of crushing everyone else and some cool recognition in October conference. But I promise you guys that if we win, I can take alcohol to the conference for free for all of us. Yes, so this is basically it regarding the R&R system. And okay, and now we have the engagement survey insights. So I will go super quick about this because I know it's kind of late, but this is important to have some information about this. And okay, if you remember, the engagement survey is sent every month on the 1st of the month, and the deadline is always on the 3rd day, and until the 5th, I have to send you the reports. In this month, I'm very sorry, I sent it like on the 7th, 2 days later, because we had the monthly review and everything got really crazy. So I really apologize for this, but for sure you will have it on time in October. And I tried to create a PPT for each LC, but I realized that it's taken me ages and ages. So I will simply share with you the Excel, which is like the raw data, and then you can use it in whichever way you want. You can share it with your EBs. I don't recommend sharing with your team leaders, or if you want, yes. But mostly this information is aimed at EBs, so that you can assess the whole state of your LC. And yes, we had 255 is the amount of members that were reported at the beginning of the month. Now we have a bit more. And only 48% of the membership replied, and then you have the percentage of each area, how many people replied, and by role, and then by LC.